Hello guys, this is Paul for PhoneArena, and this is not an iPhone 6. This is the Vivo X5 Pro. Now, you may have heard of Vivo last year when the company launched a handset to claim the throne of thinnest smartphone in the world. That was the X5 Max. Well, the X5 Pro is a variant of the X5 Max with a thicker body, ergo a larger battery, and a smaller display. It can be bought at various online retailers for about $530 to $550, but is it worth the steepish price? Let's find out. Yes, on the front, the Vivo X5 Pro looks strikingly like an iPhone 6. It does, however, have a larger 5.2-inch screen and the capacitive buttons here at the bottom, which reflect outside light with a beautiful silver finish. Spinning it around to the side, we find the physical power button and volume rocker nested in the metal frame. They are clicky, but a bit thin and shallow to the touch. Down here we have the SIM card tray and the SD card tray. It accepts a combination of a micro SIM and a nano SIM, or a micro SIM and micro SD for storage expansion. On the bottom we have the USB port surrounded by these pretty grills. One is for the speaker and the other one for the microphone. At the top we have, of course, a stereo headset jack. Looking at the device's back, we have a full glass cover, the Vivo logo in the middle, and the protruding camera at the top left. Again, heavily reminding us of the iPhone 6, although the ring sticks out a bit less. Back to the front, the Vivo X5 Pro features a 5.2-inch Super AMOLED display with a 1080 by 1920 pixel resolution. Its image is quite crisp, and we really enjoyed its detail reproduction. Colors, however, are blown up and vivid, something we're used to seeing from AMOLED panels, and the overall color temperature is a bit cold, with a noticeable blue hue being ever present. Brightness-wise, the screen reaches a maximum of 380 nits. This sounds mediocre on paper, but we found the X5 Pro to be quite usable even under direct sunlight, both when being used as a camera or for various smartphone functions. The minimum it would go down to is 3 nits, which makes for comfortable nighttime usage. We can't call the display bad, though at this price point we expected a bit more from the X5 Pro. Let's move to the Vantage OS. That's Vivo's name for the phone's interface. It's an Android 5 Lollipop reskin which looks a lot like iOS. The notifications drawer, the control center from the bottom, the spotlight search, the lack of an app drawer, even the wiggling icons when you enter the home screen editing mode reminds us of Apple's operating system. It doesn't look bad per se, but some choppiness can be observed, especially when pulling out the control center from the bottom here. Mixing Android functionality with iOS looks a bit weird, and it takes a bit taking used to. As if to drive the point home, these two apps are called iManager and iTheme. Now, naming schemas aside, they are quite useful. iTheme is of course an app full of downloadable icon packs, wallpapers and lock screens, which you are free to mix and match however you like. iManager is a security app which lets you manage permissions, much like Android Marshmallow does, for each separate app. Additionally, you can block apps from auto-starting in the background, thus saving battery. It's sort of like Greenify on steroids. Vantage doesn't just borrow from iOS, however. Digging through the settings menu, we can find smart wake options, which will let you access various phone functions by just drawing something on the sleeping screen. Additionally, there's the function to wake up the screen when you wave above it, or the one to keep it on while you're looking at it. This is all a mixture between Oppo and Samsung features that we've seen before. Now, the OS performs stable, and we enjoyed the control the iManager app gave us, but the choppy animations can get on one's nerve quite fast, especially the control center. Look at that. Additionally, if we are looking at something in landscape mode, the CC is located here, so we have to drag it from the right now. Furthermore, we had a lot of trouble trying to get this phone to connect to our PCs via USB. We even downloaded the Vivo mobile software for Windows, but all it managed to help us with was to confirm that it can't find the device. Overall, we often found ourselves wishing Vivo would have just went with a more stock Android interface, and this does not speak well for the software on a $500+ smartphone. Under the hood, there is nothing pro about the X5 Pro. It has an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 clocked at 1.5 GHz and 2 GB of RAM. That's a cookie-cutter mid-range setup, no matter how you look at it. For regular daily tasks, the phone performs stable. However, when we are doing something more intense, for example, uploading 52 sample photos to Google Drive since we couldn't offload them via USB, the X5 Pro slowed down to a near halt. Games don't look their best, but we can't say that they're unplayable. It's just that players will probably be ever mindful of the 2450 mAh battery when playing. Storage space is nothing to write home about too. The phone has 16 GB of internal storage, 11 GB of which are available to the user. You can expand it via microSD of up to 128 GB, but only if you're not using a dual SIM setup. The X5 Pro comes bundled with this pretty standard browser app. It's usable, though we didn't find it to be smooth enough for our liking. Booting up Google's Chrome got rid of our ails and revealed the handset to be pretty dependable for internet browsing. The large screen and crisp resolution definitely lend themselves toward that. As for media, we have this standard gallery app, which again reminds us a lot of the one we would find on an iPhone. It's not badly implemented. We even have this drag to select multiple pictures function, which is definitely appreciated, though it will sometimes refuse to work as desired. We also have the video player here, which supports picture-in-picture. Take that, iOS 9! And the music app, called iMusic of course, over here with a pretty familiar looking design as well. The X5 Pro has a 13-megapixel main snapper with an f2.0 aperture and an 8-megapixel selfie snapper. It sounds good on paper. The camera app looks a lot like the one on iOS, and over here we have a few different modes: a beautify function, an HDR, bokeh, night, etc. Performance-wise, we found the camera to be underwhelming and uninspiring. It has real issues with picking up the right focus and exposure for scenes with mixed lighting, and as soon as you try to take a snap of something that is not perfectly lit, colors start to wash out, fade away, and generally give us this really bad results. The HDR mode looks like it's only applying an HDR filter to the photo without actually mixing snaps at different exposure levels. The panorama feature will also not wow you, as it produces photos with a very visible stitching. Basically, the camera can be used for taking some memorabilia if in perfect light, but when the sun nears the horizon, don't expect to take any breathtaking snaps. The selfie cam is okay, and the beautify function can have a very dramatic effect, and as for video recording, the phone can shoot 1080p clips with reasonably good detail and color reproduction. It's a bit slow to react to changes in light, and movement really shakes it up, however. In call, the Vivo X5 Pro will give you a loud sound, but not a very clear one. Voices are digitized and lack high frequencies, making it a bit tough to make out the words at times. The other party will be treated to a similar loud sound, and again lacking in heights, but much less digitized. As a result, it's possible that callers will be able to understand you much better than you them. As for battery, the handset didn't really kill it in our battery life test. It survived for the measly 5 hours and 42 minutes. However, it's great at keeping its juice while in standby. See, thanks to the iManager app, we were able to keep processes in check, and the precious percentages would rarely slip out on us while the screen was sleeping. So, for casual usage, which does include a healthy amount of chatting, browsing, email checking, YouTube, actual calls, the X5 Pro will definitely deliver enough battery life to get you through the day. Unfortunately, recharging is quite slow. It takes 3 hours for the X5 Pro to go from 0% to 100%. If you're in the habit of plugging in outlets whenever you got 15 to 20 minutes free, you'll find that the X5 Pro rarely benefits from this. For the price tag of $530+, the Vivo X5 Pro has got the looks down. Unfortunately, however, it's all downhill from there. The software is stable, sure, but it loves stuttering. The hardware is underwhelming, and the camera is subpar to say the least. For the same amount of money, you can find a deal on an LG G4 or an HTC One M9, both of which are flagship class devices and are so far ahead of the X5 Pro that they can't even see it. Alternatively, you can add less than $100 to your purchase and get a Samsung Galaxy S6 or maybe an actual iPhone 6 instead of a wannabe. Price aside, let's say you find a really good deal on the Vivo X5 Pro. Should you get it then? Well, if you don't care that much about the mobile photography aspect, and if you want something exotic, maybe. Though be aware that onlookers are often likely to mistake it for an actual iPhone instead of an unseen handset. That's it for this video. If you want to check out the full review, follow the link in the description. I have been Paul for PhoneArena, and as always, thanks for watching.